She never expected her life to collide with the past she tried so hard to forget. It all started on a cold, rainy night. The city lights blurred through the downpour, and most people hurried along, heads down, avoiding the weather and each other. But she stopped, because there, lying on the slick pavement, was a man. He was injured, struggling for each breath, and completely alone. People walked past him. Maybe they didn't see him, or maybe they chose not to, but she couldn't. She knelt beside him, the rain soaking through her coat, and took his cold hand in hers. She just kept whispering, "Stay awake! Please! Just stay awake!" She called for help, rushed him to the hospital, and waited. The fluorescent lights of the waiting room hummed, each minute stretching into an eternity. Hours later, the doctor finally came out. He looked tired but gave her a small smile. "He's going to be okay. You saved his life." A wave of pure, unadulterated relief washed over her. She had done a good thing. A life was saved. She felt a sense of peace she hadn't felt in a long time. She decided to check on him one last time before leaving, just to see for herself that he was truly okay. She walked into his room, and everything changed in an instant. He was awake. His eyes fluttered open, filled with a dazed confusion. He tried to speak, but his voice was just a trembling whisper. And then she saw his face. It was familiar, but she couldn't quite place it at first. It was the face of a stranger she had just pulled from the brink of death. But then her eyes landed on a small, faint scar just above his eyebrow, and in that one moment, her entire world tilted on its axis. It was the same scar. The exact same scar she had seen countless times in a faded photograph, tucked away deep inside her late father's old case files. Her breath caught in her throat. Her hands, which had been so steady when she held his, turned to ice. The past she had spent years burying, the pain she had locked away so tightly, came rushing back in a single, gut-wrenching heartbeat. This was the man from the files. The man connected to the corporate fraud case that had destroyed everything. It was the case that cost her father his job, his reputation, and eventually his health. The man lying in that hospital bed, the man whose life she had just saved, was the architect of her family's ruin. He must have seen the color drain from her face, the recognition and horror dawning in her eyes. He whispered, his voice hoarse, You know who I am, don't you?" She couldn't find her voice, so she just nodded, tears welling up, blurring his face into a painful memory. He swallowed hard, a flicker of something deep and regretful in his gaze. "I've spent years," he said, his voice cracking, "years trying to fix the damage I caused. I've tried to make amends, to pay for my mistakes in any way I could. But I never imagined I would meet the daughter of the man I hurt the most." She took a step back, her body moving on pure instinct. But it wasn't out of fear. It was shock. It was the universe presenting her with a choice she never, ever thought she would have to make. She could turn around, walk out of that room, and leave him to his fate, disappearing from his life just as she had appeared. She could walk away from the man who had once shattered her world, and no one would blame her. Or she could stay. She could face the impossible truth that was staring her in the face. That people can change. That regret can be a heavier burden than any prison sentence. And that life is rarely ever black and white. Standing there in the sterile quiet of that hospital room, she realized the most painful, most profound twist of all. Not every villain stays a villain forever. Sometimes they live long enough to become something else, something more complicated. And not every hero, like her father, stays strong enough to see justice done. Sometimes, the person you save is the very person who once broke you, and you're left holding the pieces of their life in your hands, wondering what in the world you're supposed to do now. The past wasn't just a memory anymore. It was lying in a hospital bed, breathing, looking at her, and waiting for her to decide its future. What would you do?